What's going on, everybody? The almost in full color forefathers are here. There's four of us. We birthed the channel, forefathers.
I was about to say, does Roger Garrett need to tell us something?
I thought I was missing something here. I was like, do I know something that's not?
First podcast of the year. Hope everyone's new year was brought in well. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
I'm doing wonderful.
I'm trying to figure out where the forefathers thing came from.
I was wondering who.
We were the forefathers of this channel.
I assume Keith hired other people to distinguish us as the forefathers. So I'm trying to figure that out.
Keith already has other podcasts too.
Oh,
so.
shit.
I mean, who knows really what we're, what else we may learn.
That is true.
21.
I don't even think we've been shouted out yet either.
We were.
Must be because of COVID issues. They can't shout us out there. Social distancing from other podcasts.
Well, this year starts off with a lot of gaming news. And the first, we've talked about cheating on this channel a few times. And now Bungie and Riot Games have teamed up to go after Gator cheats. They claim that Gator cheats has made hundreds of thousands of dollars off of Aimbots and other cheats that they've been selling specifically for Destiny 2 and Valorant. And that's what they're really targeting them for. They sent them a cease and desist, but according to the lawsuit, they believe that they've still been selling those aimbots. They just aren't doing it publicly. Like, you have to kind of go through some doors to get these aimbots. And the aimbots that are currently still out are still being supported. And I guess they want the support stripped of them for that. But Gator Cheat's stance is that they paid for it, and therefore they're not taking it from someone who already kind of paid for a service, if you will. With that being said, do you feel that this lawsuit has the ability to deter other individuals from creating aimbots for these type games? Or do you think it's going to be cut the head off of one cheater for sprout up in its place to still deliver the aimbots out to the masses?
I don't know if the lawsuit is going to stop them from being able to make the aimbots, just because technically they're not changing anything on Destiny. Like, they're not changing any code or anything in the game. So technically they're not messing with the game itself. They're not doing anything to it. They're just being a man in the middle, so to speak. Sending certain inputs to the game, but they're not actually changing the game. They're not doing anything that, would be hacking. So it would kind of just determine or just kind of be like, what would the courts see that as? Do they see that as you messing with someone else's product, or would they just kind of put the onus on the end user? Like, well, the terms of service or the terms and conditions say that you can't use these products. So instead of going after the company, since, like I said, they're not changing the game, they might just put the responsibility on the end user and say, well, we can't stop them from buying it. We can't stop them from selling it, but we'll leave it up to Bungie and Riot to be able to punish those players that utilize those products, on their games or whatever.
I don't think anything's going to happen. I mean, they did a cease and desist for Perfect Aim, and people are still cheating. So until they decide to fix their security, nothing's going to happen, regardless if they sue them or not.
Yeah, I was about to say, there's a bunch of free aimbots out there. It's kind of like the trying to kill the distributor. Like, I know, like, back in day music, they took down a site, but 4 more would pop up. So I think that thing will still happen. Will they be as good quality? That's probably where you're going to see the hit, because obviously they were getting money to probably help improve it and fix it during patches to fix the aimbot that would break it. So that's kind of what you were paying for more than anything. It is odd to make money off of, I guess, cheating the term and conditions. So I guess that's where it gets tricky.
All right. Yeah, I think cheating is going to be around and alive and well for some time. Just there's a super community for it. Not only with cheating, I guess mods, if you will. Like people make a lot of money off of mods. It's a lot of money to be made in manipulating games. Therefore, I don't think this is going to deter anyone. I think they'll just become very, very, very discreet in terms of, I guess, how they're distributing the mods and ensuring that, I guess, it can't be traced to them really well. But the lawsuit had like their Discord channel and the lawsuit that was cited. So I was like, I mean, they had everything on this Gator Cheats company. So I imagine the next set of people will find a better way to.
Yeah, I mean, Gator Cheats is pretty open with it though.
Yeah.
So it kind of wasn't hard for them to get that information, but I mean, those type of cheats though, I mean, I don't see them ever being able to stop them. Just because, like I said, you're not hacking the game. Like you're literally taking valid inputs and you're just pushing them to the game. Like I don't know what security or what software you could use to kind of negate a valid input. You're just pretty much making people better, I guess. But it's not like you're making the sniper rifle like turn into a rocket launcher. You know, it might shoot stupid fast, but I mean, I guess they could kind of catch that. But if you're just going to have a really great aim, it's kind of hard to negate that. It's like, well, what if you just have really good aim and then you get banned because you made too good of a shot on your own? You have to prove you didn't use an aimbot, like, because that's really what it would come down to. If you ever did something too crazy, like, oh, well, we think that was cheating because it was a really perfect move you did right there, and it's like, yeah, so that would be odd, but I don't know. We'll see.
We got our first feel-good story of the year. Tsushima Island was hit with a typhoon, and the player base for Ghost of Tsushima raised $260,000 for repairs to the island. It isn't going to repair the whole island, obviously, but it's going to go a pretty good way at helping. As gaming gets bigger and we get all these, AAA titles that do numbers like this, do you see this becoming more of a common thing, or do you think this is just kind of like a one-off, like, for lack of better terms, and excuse me for anyone whose family may have been affected by said typhoon, but it was just a perfect storm of events that happened for Storm hit, Ghost of Tsushima came out, fans are heavily playing it, let's raise money for them, and that was yeah.
I mean, it could be kind of like what you said. I mean, you just kind of had a really well-received game that a lot of people are enjoying, and it just so happened that this, disaster struck something that was directly related to the game's creation or the game's influence. So it was kind of a way to maybe make players feel a little more concerned or feeling like that they would be a little more willing to donate towards a cause that they might not have otherwise felt any attachment to. So maybe their joy of the game and just seeing it in the game almost kind of gives it that almost like an artificial attachment to what happened to the people there, or just maybe just what happened to the structures there, that people might actually want to donate. I don't know if it will work in other ways, like if, I don't know, like Red Cross like, just wanted to open up a donation drive through, I don't know, like Cyberpunk or something. I feel like it'll probably be harder to get people to donate. People might still do it though, but I feel like that would be more so like, I don't know if y'all remember those text this number so you could donate like $10 or $5. You don't really feel an attachment to it. I mean, it's kind of like, hopefully you do, but I think that one was just more of a special case scenario.
Yeah, I was about to say there's enough like kind of charity things that happen throughout the year already through video games. I mean, you have the two big ones, AGDQ and SGDQ. So I think it was more so maybe just like a perfect storm that ended up happening, even though that's probably a terrible way of putting it. But if it ends up happening more, cool. But I guess at the end of the day, it's still a tax write-off for Ghost of Tsushima and their team anyway.
Would they get it though? Because technically they're not donating the money.
Yeah, it was the player base who
it was the player base?
It wasn't even the devs who did, like, it was just the players.
Okay, then never mind then. I mean, there still is like the two huge ones anyway. So
why you trash Sucker Punch like that?
I didn't try.
They only did it for the write-off anyway.
Much goodness happening. He said, "There's already other stuff happening."
I mean, there's a lot of charity stuff that happens in video games throughout the year. I mean, that's cool. Like it's a good on the player base for doing it. Not taking anything from them, but it's still just a whole lot of charity streams throughout the whole year. I mean, each one most of them do a mil almost too. So it's like this is just like another add-on to that. I mean, gamers have been doing charity streams for the longest time, and nobody really wants to come after, say much about them. It's just like, oh, y'all did 2 mil. It's just like that's kind of a lot to do for people playing video games.
Yeah,
so I mean, it's
like 4 times a year.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. It's good on gamers for doing it.
So you anticipated getting bigger, I guess, over the next years to come.
They might not do strictly just something for like Tsushima Island or whatever. They might do something else, but I feel like regardless, I mean, gamers have shown that they can come out and freaking break numbers like it's crazy. I mean, you have different ones that do 2 mil, 3 mil, so it's good on them though.
Yeah, I think it's that whole niche crowd. I would say Ghost of Tsushima was a bigger game, but you always see drives with like passionate fans, like all the reboots that happen, like Shaq Fu is the first one I thought of. I mean, that was diehard group of fans that wanted the game. So it's cool to switch it to charity and make it relatable. Because I know the original goal was like 40-some thousand or something like that, Keith. I don't know if you looked at.
So they 47,000 is what they originally were trying to get.
Yeah, so they went way over and beyond, which is good. But yeah, I think it helps with the niche. It seems like I couldn't imagine like a Call of Duty fan base doing something. Like it just seems too big, and people would probably figure, oh, the other people donate. I don't need to do this or something like that. But I know the niche games, if you can get a link, it seems to be pretty helpful.
And Call of Duty, they do the veterans thing every year.
Didn't even know that.
They get close to.
Yeah, I had no idea Call of Duty did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'll bring out a bunch of people for an entire week and then do like straight for, I think it's Veterans Endowment or something. I can't think of the name of the organization, but they help out like veterans and everything.
You talking about Wounded Warrior?
No, not Wounded Warrior. I don't think it's Wounded Warrior. It's something else. Call of Duty does it. Of course, Destiny does their one every year for Guardian Con. I will say there's a lot out there. They're just not advertised that much, or if they are, then you got to follow certain people. But
back to the bad. There's a company I followed. Oh man, I'm upset with myself. I think Super. Was it Super? I think oh my gosh. They were making custom PS5 plates and they were allowing people to. I'm so mad. Anyways, they were making custom PS5 plates, and then they put out a statement saying that due to being threatened that they were no longer going to put those plates out.
We lost game.
As we cannot confirm that,
sure.
We cannot confirm that Sony was the cause of them not being able to put the plates out, but we have heard the rumblings of Sony telling other people don't make custom plates for the PS5. Do you feel that Sony's in the wrong for, I guess, telling other companies what they can and can't make?
No, I wouldn't say they're in the wrong. I guess it really boils down to how much of a patent or trademark they actually have on the shelves, which that would drive the legal strength of their threats of don't do this. It's just odd that PlayStation either A, hasn't capitalized on the market themselves, or at least just licensed it out to like another company and be like, hey, we're focused on making a PlayStation, but you guys can just pump out a whole bunch of like officially Sony licensed shells, because obviously our player base wants this, or our customers want this. We just don't have the time or don't have the resources or manpower to like kind of focus on it right now, but we still want to reap the benefits of that market. We want that money. You'll get X amount of percent and we'll get this percent, and we can go that route. But it seems like they don't want anyone making it, and it doesn't seem like that they're making too much of an effort to get the ball rolling themselves, and it's just like a massive void of potential money there. That I guess maybe they just don't want anyone else making money, and they don't want it either. I don't know.
I would say Sony's always been very weird about how they approach these things. They did the same thing with Scuff. Scuff Gaming was making controllers for them. Well, not really for them, but just modifying the controllers that they had. Eventually, Sony was like, yeah, y'all can kind of stop doing it that way for a little bit. Eventually, they just like, all right, now y'all can do it. Now they're partnered with Scuff. So now Scuff can actually officially put out PlayStation controllers that are modified with like the back handles. So this is weird, I guess. Maybe eventually they will put out something, but right now they're just like, yo, stop doing that. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe they just don't. Maybe there's something wrong with the panels that they're just not wanting anybody else to touch just yet. Or maybe they have a patent out that they don't want nobody else to know about yet. Who knows? This is weird.
And from like another company standpoint, you would think that I don't know what their potential cut would be, but I mean, you still be making money doing it. Like, granted, even if they want like a 80-20 or 70-30 split, like you don't have to deal with any lawsuits, and you really don't have to deal with any competition, because it seems like Sony is really out there on the patrol, making sure nobody else makes them. So,
Was this the same group that did the PS2 ones, or is that a different group?
I put it in the chat, but I don't remember the name. I feel like there's like a 5 in the name, but
yeah, okay. Because I was about to say that one I know got stopped too, and that one made sense to me because they were marketing as like the PS2 edition, which I'm like, okay, you're kind of capitalizing that. Because they had to like cancel all the orders they got because they evidently sold out. But yeah, it's weird they would stop the plates altogether. It comes off relatively easy. They're designed to kind of come off even in the PlayStation official video. So it's just weird.
Show it off.
It's weird because, like you said, I mean, you can tell like the way they were designed, they were definitely designed with the intention to remove them and remove them easily. Like, I think I was telling Zoe, this is the first console that I can remember that you could ever remove the cover without a screw. Like, literally, it takes nothing. So it's just so odd. Like, they made it so easy, and they're like, no one no one makes shells for this, which makes me wonder what's gonna happen with D-Brand, because I know D-Brand is planning. I think they're making shells. They're not even making skins. It's supposed to be like a matte black shell. So, I mean, D-Brand's a pretty big company, pretty well known. So I'm surprised Sony hasn't went after them. Maybe because they're not selling them yet. They're kind of still taking I think they're just taking reservations or something.
Maybe. Well, I mean, we've already seen people have gone out and modified theirs already. I mean, Gaines has done his, and I've seen people.
Whoa, Terry, what the fuck?
We're going. Oh, there's more people.
Damn. All right, Ezel, chill out. He's out down there telling everything you know. Jesus.
I've seen somebody do like a wooden one. They turn their entire shells into wood. I've seen people have turned theirs into a Spider-Man and other ones. So I mean, if Sony's not going to do it, they'll just go to other companies.
Though, because Sony won't let people sell them. But Sony's came out with a statement saying that if you change yours, like paint them, whatever you do, that it doesn't void your warranty. Yeah, so they will still support it if you send it in. It doesn't like void it, but yet that's what I said. It's just so odd. Like, I don't know. I have no idea what Sony is doing, and it doesn't seem difficult to make. I mean, they're freaking plastic molds. Like, this can't be difficult.
They must already have something in place that they just haven't announced yet, and that's probably why. But I guess
what it is? Maybe they want nobody selling the shells because that's how they're going to easily make special edition PlayStation consoles.
I was about to say you probably could
sell the entire console. So if you don't let people make the plates, you force people to buy the actual special edition consoles. That's the only thing I can think of.
Or they can come out with the God of War plate and have that style.
But you can already get that from Alibaba.
Well, yeah.
You just got to go across seas. Those rules don't apply. They got some nice ones on it too.
Yeah, I think in the event that they allow, I guess, other companies to make the custom plates when you do put out the collector's edition, another company could, oh, I'll make that plate for you easy, $10, and now just you have no need for it. You just got the skin for it and go on and go forward with that. It's interesting seeing all these mock-ups and everything. The black and red Spider-Man one, I'm sure everyone has seen it. Like, I'm shocked they haven't jumped on a few of these mock-ups and just blatantly stole them. But I mean, yeah, it's gonna be a weird time for customizing your PS5, but you can do like some people did and just do it yourself. I'm sure it'll be a fun adventure if you decide to go that route. Someone that we all know may be able to tell you about it one day. But so one thing that was kind of weirdly interesting, it was the top downloaded games of 2020. I'll read off the list because this list is kind of hilarious to me. But it's top downloaded games. Number 10, Madden 21. Number 9. Oh, these are all in America, by the way. Number 9, Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Number 8, NBA 2K20. Number 7, NBA 2K21, which baffles me. Number 6, Last of Us Part 2. 5, Ghost of Tsushima. 4, Minecraft. 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, the game that just keeps on giving. And number 1 is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War in 48 days out-downloaded, apparently, everyone. But it's also weird that, like, Fall Guys and, oh my God, what was the other game that people just downloaded the hell out of?
Among
That
Us?
was on the place, or never mind. Okay, never mind. That wasn't on PlayStation. Wait, it's not on PlayStation, right?
Fall Guys was on PlayStation, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite weird. Therefore, do you feel like these numbers are glitched in some way, shape, or form for them to kind of make all that big deal that Fall Guys had so many downloads, and yet, because I feel like NBA 2K20 has to be this high on the list because it was free at one point.
Well, Fall Guys was free too.
Yeah, that's why I felt like Fall Guys should have been on this list, but I don't know. Like, for Black Ops Cold War to basically out-download everybody in 48 days kind of is like either mighty impressive.
On the old consoles as well?
Yeah, this was strictly PS4.
Oh, this was just PS4, no PS5.
Yeah, just PS4. Yeah, the PS5 list was.
I was going to say
only like 8 PS5 games.
So. PS5 might have helped influence it, but if it's only PS4, then that's different. That is crazy, but I mean, I guess that kind of validates why we had 2 different PlayStation 5 consoles then, because I know Sony was saying that like literally almost like above, maybe it was like 60% of games were sold directly through the PlayStation Store. Like that, a lot of their game sales are coming digitally now, where people aren't buying the physical copy. So that could just be a reflection of like how many people were really utilizing that on the PS4, and that could have influenced why we had 2 separate consoles for the PS5, so where they say, okay, well, we still have a nice share of the market that does play physical games, but it seems like we also have a really huge share that doesn't seem to care about the disc and, are more than happy with buying their games through either the PlayStation Store, or I guess you can probably buy them other ways too and use like a redeem code or something through the store to get them. Not too sure about that second part. But that could be it. It just could be like us seeing like really how much people, I guess, do download and play their games.
Yeah, I would question where Warzone counts, if that helped with the Black Ops numbers.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering
Oh,
too.
yeah, because Warzone was free too. So
and they switched over to basically Cold War took over because you had that map. So that's why I'm curious if that, because I didn't hear you say that in the list, so it didn't seem like it was separate.
And then also like people who take advantage of the sharing thing. So, you would have to download the games or buy the digital copy so that you and whoever or however many of the people you have with it, can kind of all share that same game. So that would inflate the download numbers as well, especially for, certain titles. But
And I wonder if repeated. I like to pick holes in numbers, but I wonder if the repeated downloads count too. Because Call of Duty, if you had that 200 gigs and then you download Cold War, then just like I'll delete it and download it again because it's smaller.
Yeah, that's a good point right there too.
I will say I don't think console has allowed you to do the modified install like how they do on PC now, where you can just instantly install Warzone and that's it. So
I think Call of Duty does that. I think they broke it up to where you didn't have to download like the campaign or nothing like that. You could just download strictly multiplayer. I'm not sure which Call of Duty it was, but I want to say matter of fact, it might have been Cold War. It might have been this new one on the PS5 that they let you download like what parts you wanted.
Then that would probably make sense on why Cold War so much, because Warzone is free. So once you download Cold War, it's just like you don't need the multiplayer. You just have Warzone. That's probably what ended up happening.
Or if they counted each piece individually.
Awesome.
Oh, you download multiplayer and campaign? That's 2. That's 2 games.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see the comparison between of like them games, digital and physical versions, like percentage still.
Yeah, I thought it was weird because I felt like in years past they advertised the hell out of Call of Duty. I mean, bringing in like Robert Downey Jr., the one commercial that had like Marshawn Lynch, had like everybody in that one. I think Snoop Dogg was in it. Jonah Hill, Channing Tatum. I know they used to go all out for like the commercials that they would punch out, and in the past couple of years, just hasn't really seemed like they've done that anymore. Like
they probably realized they didn't need to, or they probably didn't see like a massive uptick in sales for like spending all that advertisement money. It was probably just like, we don't need to do that.
Yeah, don't even know if there's really a commercial for the last one.
Yeah, let's say I don't even know.
I know the cutscene with Ronald Reagan, and then that was like all I really ever seen of Cold War. I
keep turning it off immediately.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Outside of that, I mean, I guess Call of Duty's economy and community is alive, kicking in very well, and willing to spend money, more money than probably any other community will be. These loot boxes and whatnot. Speaking of loot boxes,
that was a horrible segue. No,
that was great.
No,
never.
They're not loot box; they're skill-based boxes.
Is this even about it?
They're opportunity boxes, Keith.
So, as it was heavily implied, EA had the exclusive rights to pretty much produce all Star Wars games. That's the way it really came off. And now the good old people at Lucasfilms has decided to ask Ubisoft to create an open world Star Wars title, and they've asked Bethesda to create an Indiana Jones game for them. Has EA tricked up the bag? I
mean, yeah, they've had 5 titles of Star Wars, except for the very first couple ones. And I mean,
2 Fallen Order, Squadron.
They also had the ones me and you played, Keith. Force Unleashed.
Yep.
Didn't they have Force Unleashed?
Maybe EA made that one, but I don't think that was part of the
one with the like Jedi.
Recent.
It was like a different storyline, of course. It wasn't like canon or nothing, but I thought that was EA.
It might have been. But I mean, like out of all of those, the only one that did decent, and I mean, to be honest, it probably didn't live up to the numbers that they were expecting, was Fallen Order. And
not lived up to the numbers. They already greenlit it for a sequel.
Then outside of that, I mean, you've had one game out of probably 5, 6, or 7 that I can think of right now that actually did well. They ended up canceling that huge one that they were supposed to do. So I mean, at this point, what is EA gonna do? They can't sit there and be like, well, if you look at these numbers, it's like, well, you kind of failed. You hit the good numbers on 1 out of 7 games. That's terrible. So it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's time to go. You didn't live up to what you're saying.
What are you doing, Roger?
Looking it up.
No, I was pulling up a browser.
Oh, yeah, I had like you were like just looking around your house, like you were hearing noises, and you were trying to figure out what those noises were. You were like,
no, I had a window capture issue too, so that's what I was fighting.
I
Yeah,
mean,
they can't have it no more at this point. I mean, if you've been told like, yo, we want a great game that's going to go out there and sell so many like just sell a lot, basically. I can't think of the word for it. Then I mean, you got to do something about it. I mean, look at Battlefront 2. It was apparently okay at launch, and then something terrible happened, and then it fell off greatly, and they had to redo everything and become like Battlefront 2.0 or something.
Well, loot
So,
boxes happen.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just
that
at the end of the
day,
they tripped it up. So I mean, now it's Ubisoft's turn, and we'll see how well they do. I mean, they do pretty well at one player games. We'll see how they do with a multiplayer one.
I mean, to not defend EA because that's not something you want to do, but I mean, to their credit, having a game or a game license like a Star Wars, it's a tough thing. Like you got something that has that type of fan base, like that type of like aura about it. Like if you say you're making a Star Wars game, people expect you to damn near like recreate the Earth. Like they want it to be the best thing ever because of what you got to work with. You know, it's almost like getting a Marvel license or something like that. Like they're like, you've been gifted a gift of the gods. Like, use it wisely. Don't trick this up. So sometimes it's hard to live up to those expectations. So I mean, granted, yeah, they haven't done the best with it, but like Terry said, they have had a couple that did well, and Keith spoke to the Fallen Order actually being successful enough to where they're going to do another one. And it might not have been so much as Lucas, well, will be Disney now. Disney owns Star Wars.
Yeah.
So it might not be so much of Disney like taking it from them, so to speak, or maybe just looking at EA as you really don't delve in this world of MMO, like open world RPGs. Like it's not really your forte. And we don't want to trust you on this one with like a license, a license like Star Wars. So if we're going to license that out to somebody to make us something like that, let's go to someone who really kind of just does that. Like in Ubisoft, is it Ubisoft that's getting it or Bethesda?
Ubisoft got the Star Wars, Bethesda got the Indiana Jones.
Okay, so I mean, they're like, okay, well, Ubisoft is kind of, I mean, they've had, I guess, their little trials and tribulations, but they pretty much shown that they can take that style and make it really good. So I can only imagine what they might be able to do with Star Wars. So that could have been it too, where it just was like, they're just a little more experienced in this field or, in this genre. So let's go with them. And you guys can keep Fallen Order because that did well. And you obviously get the sequel to that. So, and you get 2 Star Wars games out there without them, I guess, hurting each other. Because obviously you would pull resources, you need another team to work on the other one. So you can kind of get both games out there almost at maybe the same time or pretty close together.
Yeah, I'm just curious if how they ended the contract. I just know EA did have a lot of the good games. I forgot they made Knights of the Old Republic back in the day too.
That's it.
So was that game actually good?
Yeah, it was actually really
Tyrell
good.
loved it. Tyrell swore by it. So
okay, because how sometimes you get those games back in the day, but man, that game was amazing. Then you go back and play, you be like,
I'm trying to think because that was one of the first games that I played that had a real good evil system.
Okay. Kind of sometimes you can play those old games and you be like, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, this is just the way I remembered it. I love this. I'm gonna have to go do something real quick. I'm gonna pick this back up though.
Graphics are a little rough now because you're like, I played on original Xbox, but anyways, it depends how they ended the contract because I was just reading up while y'all were talking. It was supposed to be a 10-year contract. So it'd been 2023. It started in 2013. So interested in that. And like y'all were saying, there was some bumps in the road, but I hear Squadron was a good game. People are still playing that. Even with the issues with Battlefront, it was still not a bad game. I mean, I played it way later after the controversy, and it's enjoyable. So maybe it was just a couple hiccups, and they just want to try different things out for a while.
Yeah. I think it kind of goes back to what Gang said. When you look at like a Star Wars, I don't know what they're envisioning exactly, but if you want something open world, I don't really know of a team probably better than like the Assassin's Creed team to work on something. If it's
Yeah.
supposed to be open world and that type thing, I really don't know another team that also has the manpower, because they got like damn well near 300 some odd people on that team. Not saying EA doesn't have big teams, but I'm sure they're
They're just not
busy.
known for that.
Yeah, they're
It
busy
is like sports
undoing
stuff
some.
like that, man. They ain't. I wouldn't trust that with
They
no
got all them
open
new
world.
Maddens updates to make for next year.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, they don't have people, Keith. They just put SpongeBob and Matt. They're probably pulled so thin there that they can barely even call home.
but yeah, maybe this just is Disney and Lucas Studios just looking for something else in terms of Star Wars and trying to take it to another level, a level maybe they feel like EA hasn't been able to hit just yet. As gaming gets bigger, I think people who are jumping in are expecting dividends that are supposed to come out like nobody's business, but I don't think that they realize it doesn't work like that. But we'll see. That moves on to the next one. Xbox currently, from the way it looks, numbers wise, Xbox people, all right, they look like they're in dead last once again. And I was reading an article, one person attributed the lack of information on when games are supposed to really drop for Xbox and are kind of leaning on that Game Pass a little bit too much. We all have said the Game Pass is a great service, but is it enough to get people to buy a new console, or should their information about, hey, these games are coming out here, and here, should that be more at the forefront and Game Pass be the icing on the cake? Or do you think Game Pass is that good to where it's like, I'll put out those games when I can for get people on Game Pass, and that service is so strong we could let that run everything?
Honestly, I feel like yeah, they're definitely struggling at the beginning. Just due to Xbox really doesn't have they don't really have a title that's going to pull you there right now. But now whether this is their strategy or not, I do feel like that they're losing the battle but strategizing to win the war, so to speak. Knowing that yeah, okay, things didn't go off as well as we wanted, mostly due to Halo not being there. Halo was not readily available to launch with the title. I mean, to launch with the console, which I think really would have moved units if it was ready and what people expected it to be. But since it wasn't, it kind of was like, all right, well, we lost that battle, kind of lick our wounds, but we still have a strategy to win in the end. And I feel like theirs would be Game Pass. And that also will be shown by purchasing all those studios. Like they're showing that they're definitely trying to bring a lot of things under that umbrella that obviously is going to get filtered right into Game Pass and give you more value. So I would say like a long perspective on it, they might actually start bringing more people on. I know this year they're also supposed to start using the X Cloud in sync with the consoles as well. So, and if you look at the publishers they brought on, a lot of them are like MMOs and open world like single player games. Like those are all pretty great games to utilize with like a cloud based service because it's not as demanding as like maybe a first person shooter or something like that. So latency is not a huge issue. So I do think that Xbox or Microsoft's strategy is to really roll it straight into cloud gaming while also still having hardware at that you can buy as well. And if you notice, Sony really isn't seem to be investing in that at all. So they could be almost kind of trying to do like a Tesla thing to where like nobody really paid attention to Tesla when they did a Roadster. It was like, oh, electric car, that's cool. All the big like GM, Ford, they was like, man, whatever. Then that Model S hit, and it was like whatever, still like 200-mile range. Like nobody really wants that. And then they just kept making it better, add more to it, and the next thing you know, it was like, oh, that's what people want now, and we haven't done anything in that field. Like we are so behind, and now they're just trying to catch up. So maybe that could be their strategy, is to really implement that infrastructure in. And by the time Sony realizes it, it's like you don't have anything to compete with. So that could be it. That's what I think they're doing long term. But like I said, I could be wrong.
Mhm. It looks like it. I mean, their launch titles, they were leaning heavily on Halo, but we saw
Yeah,
that one
not having
down.
Halo hurt. I mean,
Yeah, because I mean, outside of that, you only had Assassin's Creed and what Watch Dogs.
yeah,
Yeah.
those. I mean, both of those were on PlayStation, so
Yeah, exactly. So
you
it's like,
know,
why at that point, why am I going to get an Xbox if I have those two? Now, granted, the that Game Pass thing is pretty good. I mean, you have a lot of old games on there, but without that many launch titles, granted, PlayStation 5 didn't have that many either. But even with them, it was just like, see how this goes. But it seems like it's a long term kind of thing, and not like, hey, today we got all this today. It's probably like, here's what we got coming down the line, and we feel like this is good enough. And it seems like it's
I mean,
working so far. Maybe.
yeah, I mean, Game Pass, like you said, is legit. Like you didn't have to pay for the Destiny DLC, like that was included. You didn't have to pay for that. Halo would have been included in it. If Halo
Mhm.
was ready, that would have been a brand new next gen game that you got just for being on that service. So I feel like that would have actually brought a lot of people to Game Pass as well. So not having Halo at the beginning, and they would have only had to compete with Spider Man. Like literally, that would have been the other launch title you're competing with:
Yep.
Halo and Miles Morales. Like I feel
Yeah.
like it's safe to say Halo would have won that battle, but uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I agree.
yeah, just seems like they just really don't have anything to offer right now besides a redid Gears.
Yeah, I was about to say, I
Yeah.
think a lot of it's transition because I was looking up the numbers because I thought the PlayStation sold way more than Xbox, and it was. It was like they over double the number. So just the new console wise, you're going to continue on the platform. Like I used to be a huge Xbox person, so I would just get the next Xbox until exclusives were moving more towards PlayStation or Xbox was losing them. So it felt like that. The second problem is they went so heavy into PC. Like I have Game Pass, but I don't have Xbox because I can download games as well. So it's like I really don't feel a need to get the Xbox, and plus all the first party games are both PC and Xbox. So it's spread out. So it would be interesting how much money are they bringing with Game Pass? Because like for example, I have the new Doom and it's like I had it with the Game Pass. That's a great service. I didn't even have to pay for it. The game itself, obviously, I pay per month. So I think it's like that whole combination of just the previous gen moving into the next gen. And when you have Miles Morales and Sackboy versus whatever Xbox has, I feel like none of them really drew like, oh, I have to get this console. It's just I'm getting the console I liked previous gen.
Mhm.
And then, like I said, that cross platform with the computer and Xbox happening, it's like because that's why I sold my Xbox from the last gen was I just played everything on the computer. So it's a weird shift for them, and like Gain said, the cloud and all.
Yeah, it's
So,
almost like the PC kind of can cannibalize from the new sales of the Xbox. Because, like you said, you don't need it, and there's nothing like that on Sony's side. Like,
and
there's only one way to get Sony stuff.
and
That's to play
once
a
the
PlayStation.
X Cloud comes out, I mean, you can get that without the Xbox. I can pay for it with the PC and be able to play Xbox now. So it's kind of like a weird thing. It's more like I guess they're getting away from hardware a little bit in a sense and moving just cross hardware so you can have a PC or you can just have console. Everyone's happy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, you think about it, that would be literally like the perfect ecosystem for them. It almost would be like Appleizing their gaming to where like you have your phone, you have your Xbox maybe at home, but you also have your PC. Like no matter where you're at, you can play those games. So
Yeah, it's weird. I personally don't maybe they're quiet just because they don't have a lot going on right now. And even with the Bethesda acquisition, like Deathloop and Tokyo Ghostwire are coming out on PS5 exclusively. So like even with the new companies that you brought on, they still have to fulfill old contracts. So they can't even, get you out there and get you looking good. Whereas PlayStation 5 is like, hey, Deathloop, Tokyo Ghostwire, new IPs coming, Ratchet and Clank's coming. We got Horizon Zero Dawn coming. God of War's coming this year. You'll start off with Miles Morales, Demon Souls remaster. We'll put out Devil May Cry special edition where you can play as Virgil. And it just was like, hey, this is what it is. Boom, 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 boom. Nintendo has their Nintendo Direct is always, popping up with their directs, giving out information, but it just seems like Xbox is just really quiet about when things are coming out and what they're doing. And even with when they showed the gears side by side on the Series X versus the Xbox One, there was no difference. So then it was like, hold on, you tell me Gears plays better on the Series X, but there is no difference between that and the One. So why do I need to upgrade? It's just a bunch going on.
Gears 5 on the Series X definitely looked and played better than the One X. I mean, I think the One X, they barely was hitting 30 FPS. Like, it was a lot of times that it dropped below that. I know Digital Foundry was showing, when it ran on the Series X, especially after they pushed, it was some update they had. They had, a couple areas where the frames dropped to, 57, 58, and then they, kind of flushed that out to where now it's, lock 60. I mean, it does play better, but like you said, I mean, it's just kind of hard to resell the same game.
Right.
Outside of GTA 5, apparently. That one,
GTA 5 is a game that keeps on giving.
That can resell. That's been out since Game Boy, so playing that for 50 years now.
It's a great game.
It is, yeah.
But I don't know if that Game Pass will push units. It seems more so like it's not a unit pusher. It's more of a.
It's a subscription.
It's
different. As Roger said, it keeps everybody happy. Like anyone can play pretty much anywhere from anything. And when xCloud launches in April, I believe is their beta launch date or whatever. Once that comes out, and then you're able to go straight from your phone. It once again
you can use the phone now.
Yeah, it was browsers. I think. Yeah, the browsers I think is coming out this year.
Oh, that's what's April. Okay.
Yeah, they've been on the phone for a little while now. You just couldn't get to it anywhere else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
that's why it feels like it's a very long play. Like right now, they know it's kind of like you said. They still got those companies they bought are still making.
Yeah,
games
say you talked about Bethesda with Indiana Jones. I'll be curious how whenever that comes out, how will that be launched?
Yeah.
I thought it was weird Indiana Jones was brought up. I don't know who wants Indiana Jones game.
Wow.
But, I mean, I don't know. They could. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. I thought Uncharted pretty much took that.
I don't know who's clamoring for Indiana Jones, but
yeah, especially with Uncharted already being out, because that's what you're going up against because that's what Uncharted essentially was.
Don't forget, Uncharted was just another Tomb Raider.
Or it was like Tomb Raider meets fucking Indiana Jones is what I always thought of Uncharted. So
now Indiana Jones is back to take his crown.
Yeah, I guess so. But we'll see if someone from I don't even know what era he's from, but we'll see if he can come back into this 2021 climate and succeed. Something tells me he won't. But moving forward to Gaines' topic, Google Stadia and GeForce Now are both getting apps on LG smart TVs next month.
That's so funny because I told Roger about this months ago. I was like, they need to just put them on TV.
So LG Smart TV specifically will be bringing an app, I believe, late February, early March timeframe is what I read. And with that comes a question. There are several other hats being thrown in the cloud-based service arena. A new one called Shadow Boost just came out, and that's essentially what GeForce Now was before GeForce Now lost all of a lot of support from Capcom and other companies who they basically just weren't giving kickbacks to. I don't know if Shadow Boost is giving kickbacks, but currently it is the same exact model as GeForce Now. You rent out a virtual PC and log on to your Steam, whatever, and play whatever it is that you own. It's pretty much their model, same thing. We have the Amazon cloud-based service, which I believe is called Luna.
Yep.
And xCloud will be pretty much getting ready to go into full effect here this year. So the question is, does Google Stadia win? Because I feel like it's going to get to the point where it's going to be like Netflix, Disney, or Hulu, all these streaming services. People aren't paying for all of these. Only one of these will come out top dog. So, if you were a betting man, what will you put your money at?
Well, I mean, I like Stadia, but honestly, Stadia doesn't really fit that mold because it's not subscription based. Like, it's no different than paying for online access on PlayStation, and you still have to buy each game. I mean, granted, you get a few games free every month, but other than that, you still have to buy each individual game. Game Pass is more of a Netflix subscription-based model to where you pay a regular fee and you get everything in their library, and they control what comes in and out of their library on a certain life cycle. So, something may not be there, but usually things stay there for quite a while. Like, we're talking a few years or so before they're pulled. But honestly, if I had to bet my money, I would say that Microsoft is probably going to come out on top, just due to the fact Google Stadia is really good, and I feel like it's probably the best cloud-based gaming service there is right now. But there's a thing just called brand. And when it comes to gaming, people know Microsoft, people know Xbox. There's a lot of times I talk to people and they have no idea what Google Stadia is. Luna might stand a chance just because I'm sure Amazon is just going to try to throw like a bunch of stuff into it. Like, if you have Amazon Prime, now you get this with Luna, but Luna is like really, really, really in its infancy. So if they're competing straight up with Microsoft, I don't see them winning that battle, especially with Microsoft buying up all those studios. Like, I'm really telling you, they're really playing a long game. Like, and I feel like that's why they purchased those ones, was thinking about, like Roger said, is like they're transitioning more towards a virtual based infrastructure. Like, maybe the next Xbox will just be a thin client, and
Yay.
Roger says that a lot. It might not even process anything on our end. You got the rollout of 5G now. You give it another few years, 5G is going to be like LTE right now, to where you'd be hard pressed to take your phone anywhere and not have LTE service. So, and y'all seen how fast 5G is. I mean, we're talking like 140, 150 down, like 70 to 80 up. I don't know a game you can't play with that. So,
you need the latency, the ping.
Oh, well, yeah, you got the ping. The ping usually runs you around about 20 some milliseconds. But obviously, as that stuff matures, I'm sure that they'll be able to figure that out. I mean, I'm sure there was a time we never thought we could FaceTime each other. Yep, here we are doing it right now. So you went back like 20 years and was like, y'all be able to see each other and talk to each other over the internet. Like, bro, you're crazy. It takes 5 days to download a song. Like, we're never going to get there. So I would say that I just see gaming going there, mostly because everything has gone to a subscription-based service, for better or for worse. And I definitely see Microsoft kind of trying to emulate that, and I do feel like that they will win out.
Silence.
Well, I guess I'm just saying, right? The answer says silence. But I feel like it would be difficult if Sony would have actually came to the table, but it doesn't seem like Sony is interested in that model, and it's weird because they have PlayStation Now, but PlayStation Now is only old games. Like, Game Pass, you can, and they have no way to like stream their new games, so that's the difference. But it's almost like, remember when we used to say, why doesn't PlayStation have party chat? And it was like a song. Like, who wants to talk to each other while you play games? When you're playing different games, that's stupid. And Xbox was like, no, they really love it. Like, like party chat is amazing. Everyone wants it. So it's almost like maybe Sony's kind of doing the same thing. It was like, we're not doing cloud gaming. Like, that's stupid. And Microsoft is like, no, we'll do it. We'll see what happens with it.
Yeah, I was about to say it would take I think one of the bigger known companies streaming service, Xbox, if PlayStation or Nintendo ever did one, I think those would definitely knock out Stadia. Luna is doing the subscription based as well, the Netflix style everyone's used to, and they're trying to offer it cheaper. And I know Control was their big game. When I had the little trial and it played just like Stadia, everything was fine. So that might get some ground at some point. I'm not sure, but I'm used to Google and their betas. I mean, let's remember they had like the glasses and everything else that came out way before everybody, and it was like, okay, we took what Google did and it just kind of died. I am curious if subscription models will work well for games, because I feel like Netflix, it's easy to be like, I'll watch this movie or new show and just give up on it, where like games, not sure if people move around like that. I think me and Gaines always try the new games if we see them on the list, but not sure if a normal gamer would like that model. So that would be a curious thing too. Would they like the GeForce Now, where it's like I kind of already own this and just want to play it somewhere?
Yeah, I would assume that at some point Game Pass is going to incorporate that, that where you can probably purchase a title straight from Game Pass, and then that kind of removes it from that life cycle approach to where, like you said, Netflix will remove a movie or remove a TV show. Like you can just outright buy it, and then you don't have to worry about that game being pulled from the service. Or they might just keep it to where you can just buy it from their store.
Yeah, you can
Like if
buy
they
it
remove,
now,
yeah,
because like Flight Simulator, I could buy it. I played that on Game Pass, but I think it's locked to like now it's locked to my PC. I don't have like a cloud access
okay,
if that has it. I'm not sure if they would do that or not. If you would keep that forever, that was the good thing about Stadia, is you could buy it and never even pay for the service.
true, yeah.
So
On to you.
Oh, you out? All right.
I got something.
Yeah, I mean, I have no dog in this race. It'll be interesting to see who comes out on top and which model the people end up choosing, because ultimately that's what it'll boil down to, is
Yeah.
which model generates the most money, and thus it will show the field, what the climate would be like for that time. So pretty much we'll see. It'll definitely be interesting, because pretty much it'll be the method of I'm renting a virtual PC to play games I own, or I am on a subscription service to where I'm playing games within the library. I don't know which one wins out, but it's definitely going to be pretty cool to see, because this is basically what the future is going to look like, or at least part of it,
there you go,
anyways.
Keith. Just
Will
follow
definitely
along.
look like this.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
I gotta
it's
embrace it.
definitely going to be the future. It is. I mean, for better or for worse, it is. Like
Yeah.
that's what it's going to be. It's just
I
it's
think
too
it'd
many
be for the
benefits for
better.
the companies to not do it. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't have the logistical issues. You don't have like, having to even. I guess they could even play the good guys and say we're all about the environment. That's less waste.
Mm.
Less plastic to use, less this to use, and then
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah,
you can
but
play
see,
instantly.
you can get the new update of hardware without waiting like you did with the new consoles. They'll just be like, "Oh, next week we'll start the new gen of our servers, and yep, all your games are updated." And there you go.
Your subscription price is also updated.
Hey,
I mean, it's weird. You have to figure out how many games you normally buy and what the subscription would cost. But I guess
Yeah.
we'll see.
that's
We'll
why
be old. Probably in another like 10 years. I would say it's gonna be in full effect.
I'm about to say I can't imagine it staying $10 like most of them are now, because Luna's like $6 or $7 even.
Yeah, and Luna, I don't even think you can play in 4K yet.
Yeah, I can't
I think
remember.
theirs max out at 1080p for the pay. Well, theirs is only paid, but
Mhm.
I don't think you can play 4K with xCloud
I can
either.
see $30 a month.
Oh, it's gonna probably creep up there. I feel like Game Pass probably will go up, just due to Game Pass being, like you said, that Netflix subscription. That'll probably go up in price because you're getting everything in one bundle. Whereas Stadia, you're only getting network access. You still got to buy every game, so it's kind of hard to justify moving that one up since we still got to buy games.
Well, let's move on to our final and normal segment of the podcast. Recommended games. Recommend a game.
You ain't gonna sing the theme song?
No, I'm not singing the theme song this time around. Yeah, I was working on it, but Roger had to help me. I will begin. This game I'm recommending is not for your pleasure. Actually, Gaines hinted at it earlier in terms of you're going to play it, and I think this game will make you appreciate every game you play now. That is GoldenEye 007 on the N64. Please, just go back and play it with the N64 controller.
That's an odd recommendation.
No.
Yeah, no, I tried to play it.
People try water. You should drink water. It's amazing. If you haven't tried it, you really should.
Nah, go back and play that one. I assure you will appreciate controls. You will appreciate
auto aim is weird.
Yeah, auto aim is terrible. That's like playing the first Halo on Xbox. You realize how much ADS matters. You're like, I just hip fire everything? Yes, you do. I hip fire the snipe. Yes, you hip fire everything. It's like, oh, this is crazy. GoldenEye 007 on 64.
God, the worst controls ever.
You just gotta get used to it.
No. I actually do have a game this time. It's Monster Hunter Rising on the Switch. It officially comes out in March, but the demo's out now. It's actually really good so far.
Huh.
Yeah, I you can play the demo right now.
Recommend this game.
Baby steps.
No, it's actually
he's saying that I wouldn't think a game like Monster Hunter would play well on the Switch.
It's normal. I mean, the graphics is the only difference. I mean, if you played Monster Hunter World, not really. They probably condensed a lot of the spaces.
You're so lenient on this frame, King. You usually don't like stuff like that.
It's a Switch. I don't really care.
Oh, let's talk about Hyrule Warriors and then bring Terry.
Oh God, Hyrule Warriors. That was a terrible game as far as frame rate goes.
There we go.
I'm not gonna say the word for it. I tried the demo. I didn't try the full game for it, but Hyrule Warriors was terrible. I will say that much. But
Dynasty Warriors in a different skin, Terry. What'd you expect?
Oh yeah, I figured the frame rate would probably be a little bit better until I started turning this corner and ran to like 200 enemies sitting in front of my face, and my game was like, "You really want to play this right now? Here you go. Here's a 20 FPS game." So, there you go. Monster Hunter Rising officially comes out in March, but the demo's out now. You can play at least like 50 missions. So I mean, you at least get the base point. Yeah, you get the base point down.
Yeah, but I say that didn't sound like a demo. That sounded like part 1 of the game.
Terry didn't realize, brother, he actually has the entire game. He paid for it. He's like, this beta's amazing.
So let's see. There you go.
Am I going or you going, Roger?
It doesn't matter. We'll just stare awkwardly until it passes.
Rock, paper, scissors for it.
I can go. I'll go. So my game was Astro's Playroom for the PS5, actually. It's a tech demo, but it's actually a lot more involved than a lot of the other tech demos. It feels like a Ratchet and Clank, I don't want to say ripoff, but it seemed like they kind of pulled their team or something because it played just like it. But there's a bunch of collectibles, and it goes through all the peripherals and consoles PlayStation made. And I learned that I didn't realize the PSP had like a GPS thing you could buy for it on the top to do some location-based stuff. Didn't even know that existed, but it was cool there. They have a speed run section, so it was pretty thought out. It does have your gimmicky, this is what your controller can do. So you have the like 6-axis thing, so you have to move your controller, do certain things, which you shows the controller. That would be my negative.
Back from the dead, is it?
Yeah.
Those 6-axis trying to make a comeback.
But it was actually a fun game. I was shocked. It's kind of short, but I would say if you got the PS5, it's free and it's actually just installed on your console, so you don't even have to download it and give it a try. It was actually entertaining.
Before I say my game, do you guys think PlayStation is ever going to come up with a gimmick that sticks? Outside of Rumble, because they don't really create that.
Well, they're trying.
I think the haptic feedback is pretty dope.
Haptic feed. Talking about the adaptive triggers?
Yeah. Well, that and the motor, the controller that
the haptic feedback, because that's just like fancy rumble.
Well, I feel like they took that from the Switch.
Like me and Roger was saying, like the Joy-Cons on the Switch did that, where they had like you could feel how many cubes of ice was in a cup. Like they had that, and I'm surprised like no reviewers or anybody like said like, oh, they kind of used the Switch's technology in their controller. Everybody just like made it seem like Sony invented it like out of nowhere. And I was like, damn, they're just really discrediting Nintendo there.
It went
I don't
away.
think I've ever noticed it too much with the Joy-Con, or maybe I wasn't playing games that really utilized it. But like
mini type games.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed, if you jump in the water, like it like feels different, like makes like it doesn't feel like water, but they definitely try to give you the sensation that you're in water through the controller. It's really weird. I don't know. It's cool though. I don't like it sometimes when I'm just trying to just do stuff and fucking controllers doing crazy things.
The trigger stuff is pretty cool. It depends on the game though, because like the Astro's Playroom, you had to hold it. You were like a monkey climbing a wall, and some of them had like the wall was like crumbling. So if you squeezed the controller too hard, the trigger it would like break on you. But you could kind of tell sensitivity easier with that. And I know that sounded all wrong. So
I'm just sitting.
I didn't.
So maybe the trigger thing will go, but I mean the touchpad is a giant button. That's basically what it probably still would be.
Like all this stuff goes to like nothing. But anyway, my game that I recommend is, of course, Roger already gonna know, so it's Terry. But Nexomon Extinction, which is really a bootleg Pokemon, but it is like really good though. It sucks to have to say it's so good that it sucks. That's how you have to describe it to people. It's pretty much like a bootleg Pokemon, but when you play it, like you realize, wow, this is actually really good. And it's just kind of one of those games to where, like, they poke fun at Pokemon and they poke fun at like just being in a game in general. So it has like really funny dialogue. The Nexomon stuff is just like Pokemon. They still use fire, water, all that type of stuff. So that's actually really really familiar for people who do know Pokemon. But yeah, it's a really good game. So if you want to play it, I know it's on PS4, PS5. I think it's like $13 right now. It was on a sale when I bought it for like $13. I don't know if it still is, but it's a pretty good game if you just want something to play and put about, I think it takes like about 16, 18 hours to beat. Obviously a lot more if you want 100% it, but it's a good game. So if you got some time on your hands and want to play Pokemon on PlayStation, Nexomon is it.
Monster catching game. That's what I see it as described.
Oh, monster catching game where you become the greatest tamer in the world.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's going to do it for this podcast. First podcast of the year. Once again, hope this finds you in great health. Hope that you and your loved ones are feeling good, doing great. That being said, this is the Almost in Full Color Forefathers. Peace. Be easy. Be blessed. There's 4 of us.